With 2023 in full swing, the winter anime season is going hard with new and sequel animes like Bungo Stray Dogs Season 4, a Nier Automata anime, and, a personal favorite of mine, Wolfery I Don't Want to Get Hurt So I'll Max Out My Defense, Season 2. But what about all the anime that you might have missed out on in 2022? Well, to help you with that, I thought I'd compile a list of my top 10 favorite anime from last year. Little bit of a disclaimer. This list has anime that didn't air in 2022, but the dubs came out, so I'm considering them as anime that came out last year. Also, I pretty much exclusively watched dubbed, so if there wasn't a dub for it, I probably didn't watch it. Now without any further ado, let's get into things. Good old slice of life comfort food. Laid Back Camp is exactly what the title suggests. It's about camping in the great outdoors. It brought me back to my days when I was in Boy Scouts, and camping with my friends was almost a monthly occurrence. I learnt a lot with my time in Scouts, but would you believe me if I told you that I actually learnt something new from Laid Back Camp? Yeah, like apparently this is a viable way to make a campfire. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that I just didn't know about. And more often than not, I would be so immersed into the story that I would actually want to go camping again. The fact that it was able to make me want to go and sit with the bugs in the cold again speaks how engaging it was. But most importantly, this anime is just laid back. It's chill, Zach. It's the type of show where whenever you see a new episode come out, you make preparations to watch it. You get your nice blanket, you get comfy on the couch, and you enjoy the beautiful animated scenery. Cute girls doing cute things and slice of life anime aren't going to be everyone's morning roast next to a beautiful lake, but I'd highly recommend you check out Laid Back Camp. Currently waiting for the Season 2 and movie dubs. Odd Taxi is nothing like I've seen before. There are just some anime that are overlooked in a season, and I believed this is one of those overlooked gems. We follow the story of a walrus taxi driver and how he gets involved in something that's much bigger than him. Have you ever heard of the term Chekhov's gun? It's the idea that, in a story, when you introduce something like an item or a plot detail, it must be necessary to move the narrative forward. Otherwise, do not introduce it. Odd Taxi does this tenfold, and masterfully too. Every character interaction, every plot detail, every item is important. Each character has their own story surrounded in mystery and questions. Some of them are relatable, and some, thankfully not. It all starts out separate, but over the course of the show, it all comes together beautifully, and all your questions have been answered. Yes, they are animals, but they're nothing like animals at the same time. They all still act like regular people, and there doesn't seem to be any reason why they're animals. The only complaint that I have is that it ends on a cliffhanger, and that the actual ending is baked into the recap movie. I mean, it's easy enough to watch the ending, all you have to do is what if we took an organized Japanese gang syndicate and made it wholesome? The Yakuza's guide to babysitting revolves around Toru and Yakuya. Toru is a cold-hearted and brutal Yakuza member, so much so that other Yakuza groups have dubbed him as the Demon of the Sakuragi. It isn't until his boss assigns him to watch over his daughter, Yakuya, he begins to soften up and gain some humanity. Over the course of the show, you learn stuff about both Toru and Yakuya and begin to paint a picture as to why they are the way they are. Both of them have been through some pretty tough times, but as they learn more about each other, they begin to understand where the other is coming from. One thing that most media with the grizzled man watching over kids trope, i.e. the spy next door and the pacifier, gets wrong is that they forget to give the kids personality, and they follow the lines of, I don't like you, get out of my life. At the start of the movie, and at the end they go, you know what? You're not that bad of a guy. I hate that. It's lazy writing and it feels like there's a disconnect between you and the characters. Not only does Yukiya have a personality, but she also has a great character arc where she learns that she can be more open about herself. To put a bow on top of everything, every character has something to love about them, and they all have great interactions. This anime is super wholesome, and it'll have you grinning from ear to ear every episode.
It didn't take too long to realize something has changed in the back of my mind. Your eyes, there ain't nowhere left.
I was out with a couple of my pals a while back when one of my friends recommended that I watch Link Click because he thought it was really good. The dub started to come out a little while after he recommended it to me, and I 100% see why he loved it so much. It was suspenseful, exhilarating, mysterious, and it has a killer arc. Link Click is mostly an episodic anime, but you can tell that each episode bleeds into each other in some way, shape, or form. It does an excellent job at introducing and resolving conflicts that build on each other to create one overarching story. The main characters are really fun too. I love seeing Lu and Chang bounce off each other, and the art style is incredibly unique and very refreshing to look at. It's very sharp and visually stimulating. I don't want to say much more for fear out of accidentally spoiling it, but I will say that I would be lying if I didn't get emotional during a particular episode. Do my friend a favor and watch Link Click. When the Komi Can't Communicate anime was announced, it was talked about. A lot. But there wasn't a buzz of hype or anything around the announcement, like there is for most shonen anime. The overall reaction that I saw was basically just a big sigh of relief. The Komi manga fans have been waiting for so long for this anime that they were just happy with the fact that it was finally getting animated. And now I completely understand their love for Komi. The anime is fantastic. Komi Can't Communicate follows, of course, Komi and her journey to make 100 friends. And the first friend that she makes is Tadano, or as we in the fanbase like to call him, Chadano. The reason we call him that is because he's such a great friend to Komi. You might think that Tadano is the lucky one for having Komi as a friend, but it's actually the other way around. Although he isn't perfect, he tries his best to help Komi overcome her extreme social anxiety. Pair this perfect friendship with a bunch of wacky and lovable side characters, and you have a masterpiece in the making. The long-awaited third season of Mob Psycho 100 is finally here, and it's debatably the best season yet. It's also, sadly, the last season. But this isn't just a continuation of Mob's story. It's a continuation and conclusion to everybody's and Mob's story. And in my opinion, they wrap up everything beautifully. Dimple, Reagan, side characters, and even the past villain. Everyone gets a satisfying conclusion. Mob confronts himself when crap hits the fan, Dimple realizes that he doesn't want what he thought he wanted, and, well, anymore, and I'd be going into spoilers, the animation is just as good as it was in the past seasons, if not better. It was fantastic during the fights, and even when it didn't need to be all that good, it was silky smooth. And just to put a cherry on top, Mob Psycho Season 3 probably has my favorite anime opening of the year. Not just visually, but musically too.
One and only one.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 Stone Ocean. Yes, Netflix killed the hype by deciding to release this part in batches, but that doesn't subtract from the quality of this part. and in my opinion, it's peak JoJo. There's not much different from past parts, it's basically more JoJo. Not that that's a bad thing, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of my favorite anime of all time. Insanely creative stand powers with incredibly unique designs are present in this part, but it isn't until we get to Batch 3 of Stone Ocean when we get new peak JoJo. Father Pucci's villain has been building up the entire time, and it all pays off in the end. In my opinion, the Made in Heaven arc is right up there with Part 4's Yoshikage Kira arc. I won't get into why I like it so much, since that would be major spoilers for the ending and JoJo as a whole, but I will say, it sucked. I loved it, 10 out of 10.
その涙が朝がにじんだ誰とも違う美しさ
Okay, so technically Ranking of Kings came out in 2021, but the majority of the dub was released in winter 2022, so I'm counting it as a 2022 anime. Ranking of Kings is one of those anime where it looks like one thing at a glance, but once you've sunk your teeth into the story, it becomes something else entirely. The art style is really misleading. Boji and everybody else look cartoonish, almost to the point of them looking like caricatures. But if you let your guard down, you'll get smacked across the face with the brutality of this world. We follow the story of Boji, a deaf and dumb prince, and how his kindness saves his kingdom even when the kingdom rejected him. The first 12 episodes are mostly dedicated to character and world building, while the latter half is the payoff. Those first 12 episodes are incredibly interesting to watch. You're not entirely sure what each character wants or what their goals are. They give you little hints here and there to help you piece things together, but it isn't until it's too late you realize what their goal is. Overall, Ranking of Kings is about overcoming the odds in the face of adversity. Also, shout out to Sungwon Cho or ProZD for playing Kage.
Monsters Inc.
Motherfucking Mike Wazowski!
Kaguya-sama Love is War is probably my favorite romantic comedy of all time, but I like to call Love is War a comedic romance because it always seems like the jokes and gags come first before the actual romance, at least up until the third season. Ultra romantic is what the last two seasons have been building up towards, and not only was the payoff fantastic, but they managed to keep my sides hurting from laughter the entire way through. The idea that the first person to confess their feelings to the other loses and becomes the lesser person in the relationship is hilarious to me. This idea is emphasized with Kaguya's and Shinogane's 200 IQ plays to get the other to confess. Pair this with Chika Fujiwara's airheadedness, Ishigami's non-existent will to live, and Miko Ino's strict sense of justice, and you have one fantastically funny student council. Not only is Love is War comical, but throughout the entire series, you actually begin to root for Kaguya and Shinogane. Kaguya-sama Love is War is fantastically witty and humorous, with a lot of attention to detail. If you only watch one thing on this list, make it this. But before we get to number 1, here's some honorable mentions. Oh boy, what can I say that won't anger the fanbase? When the Chainsaw Man anime was announced, all the fans of the manga came out of their caves and shouted to the high heavens that this was the anime that was going to end all anime. Did it live up to the hype? No, I don't think it did. There wasn't anything that I really disliked about Chainsaw Man. It's just that the entire time I was watching, I was expecting that one insanely hype moment that would put it on a pedestal as one of the greatest anime of all time. Except that never happened, and in a way that kinda killed the show for me. Studio Mappa did a great job with the animation, even with the CGI, and I'm looking forward to season 2, where hopefully I'll begin to see why people love it so much. Natsume's Book of Friends Season 1 originally aired in 2008, but is just now getting a dub 14 years later in 2022. And I love it. Each episode has a new story to tell, a new yokai to figure out, and new ideas to ponder. The only reason that it's not on this list is because, at the time of this recording, the Season 2 dub is just now wrapping up, and there are 6 seasons, so I feel like I have to watch it all before giving my final thoughts. But so far, it's great and I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. What would you get if you combined ReZero with Among Us? You would get summertime rendering. Picture this. You arrive on an island to attend your childhood friend's funeral. But something's off. You begin to notice more and more things that aren't right. But before you start to paint a picture of what's going on, you start over from the beginning. Everything's shrouded in mystery, and you have so many questions that need answers to. And that's just the first episode. Again, the only reason why this anime isn't on this list is because I haven't finished it yet. But what I have watched has been fantastic, and I cannot wait to watch the rest. The one way I can describe this arc in Made in Abyss is beautifully tragic. At first I wasn't sold on the 2 plot lines being told at the same time, the one in the present and the one in the past, but the Explorer's plotline is so incredibly heartbreaking and ties so seamlessly into the present storyline that I couldn't help but watch in awe. Admittedly, I only watched Made in Abyss because I heard that Season 2 was coming soon, but I came out with some of the best world building and story moments that I had ever experienced. It's violent and gory, yes, but there's a reason for the blood and guts. This is not an everybody wins story. The Abyss will eat you alive if you are not careful, and if you don't adapt. The explorers maybe learned that a little too late. And the story only gets more and more tragic when you learn more about Fabta and her reason just for existing. It's hard to recommend Made in Abyss to friends because of all the crap that goes down. But if you're brave enough and you're willing to take on the Abyss yourself, I promise you, you will not regret it. And with that, I end my top 10 anime of 2022 list. And hey, if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching to the end. I really appreciate you. I really want to make more video essays like my Violet Evergarden video that I did a while back because I got some very positive feedback. And if I'm being honest, I did that video for an English class. But I want to do more video essays like that one because I want to add something to the conversation and contribute to the narrative surrounding the stuff. And it helps me get thoughts out of my head and onto paper, so there's that. I've been thinking about what videos I want to do, and I have some ideas jotted down in a Word doc, so look forward to more videos down the line. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.